Hi, this is Dan Smigrod. I'm the founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Monday, November 13th, 2017, and we're just getting ready for WGAN TV live at 5. Sorry for the feedback there. If you hang on one second, I'll. uh, so I have to actually find. Okay, got it. No, I still have one more. I have one more. I have one more screen open here somewhere. Let's try that. Anyway, this is our tech setup every day, so thanks for your patience. Okay, and let's close that. Anyway, this is our tech setup every day, so thanks for your patience. There we go. Okay, good. Hey, we're just about, let's see, 16 minutes away from being live at 5 on WGAN TV. If you're watching this on YouTube, just simply please fast forward. It'll be the 5 o'clock hour. That's just about 17 minutes from now. And we'll do a little pre-show here in a minute once we actually get all set up. And I think I've actually lost my YouTube connection, so I think I'll have to Hi, all. I'm Dan Smigrod. I'm the founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Monday, November 13th, 2017, and we're just getting ready for WGAN TV live at 5. That's just about 16 minutes from now. We're just doing our daily tech setup. So thanks for your patience. It's a little bit low tech. I actually need to do a couple things to make this actually live within the We Get Around Network Forum. And let's see, let's go over here. Almost there. Hey, Kevin, we're just getting set up. I've just started the live stream to YouTube. It's going to take me a moment to get that live on the We Get Around Network Forum. So thanks for your patience. I know you're just getting set up as well. Yep. If you could bear with me. Sure. And I'm coming over here. Just take a second. Okay, great. Lost my place. Almost there. Okay, let's just double check the audio.
Oh, yep, double checking the audio. Can you hear me? You hear my audio levels?
Yes, I do. So, Kevin, as we do a little tech setup, we are actually live on the We Get Around Network Forum. So you can wave. We won't officially start for like 14 minutes, but it is a little bit low tech in terms of how we do our live feed. See your cat in the background. So, hey, all, if you're just stumbling on WGAN TV live at 5, I'm Dan Smigrod. I'm the founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Joining me today, Kevin Kunze. We'll do a formal introduction with Kevin at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. That's just about 15 minutes from now. If you're stumbling on the feed, just simply fast forward about 14 minutes. How do you do that if it's live and fast forward? Well, that's like, well, just take the Back to the Future car, go 13 minutes forward, and that's when our actual formal program begins today. Super excited to have Kevin on the show at the top of the hour. He's going to be talking about the Garmin Virt, V-I-R-T 360 camera. He's going to demo it some, discuss it. Kevin is a subject matter expert on 360, all 360 cameras, video, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Just wanted to give you a kind of a heads up what's going on in the We Get Around Network Forum today. I actually can't go to that screen. Okay, so if you check out how you scan inside cars, that's really kind of, Matterport's not really made to scan inside of cars, but if you have a $117,000 car and you got a Matterport camera, just for kicks and giggles, you might as well see what you can do in terms of scanning it. And so take a look at that car. One of our members in the forum has done exactly that. There are obviously challenges with scanning inside of a tight space in 360. So you can see some examples of cars that have been scanned. If you ever thought about scanning a yacht, one of our members is writing somewhat in real time about the challenges of scanning a yacht. Unfortunately, he did not succeed on the first day. He went back. He's experienced some success. He still has some post-production work to do in Matterport Workshop. And so if you want to read about scanning a yacht, in this case, a very large catamaran, that's pretty cool. Also in the We Get Around Network forum, you have a real estate agent client that's not paying you. You may not be unique in that scenario. There's a wonderful forum, photography for real estate. We've linked to it. They have a very robust conversation going on about what to do when a real estate agent client doesn't pay you, and that might be helpful. Let's see. Kevin, did you want to do a little sound check just to make sure you're okay on sound?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sounds perfect. That is great. Okay, so we're good there. We'll get started in just about 10 minutes. Kevin's getting set up with his Garmin Virb. Let's see, what else is going on? Some really big news broke, I want to say, late Thursday night. The co-founder, one of the three co-founders of Matterport, announced in a Facebook post that he was leaving. That's Matt Bell. So you might want to check out and read exactly what Matt said about why he is leaving Matterport and what he plans to do. He still will continue with the company as a member of the board of directors, and likely a very large equity holder in the company. But it's not every day that you see a co-founder of a large company announce on Facebook the backstory about why he's leaving. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that post and then click on the link, take you back to his Facebook post so you can read even what people are writing about on that Facebook post. Let's see what else we got going on. Fascinating post about a room that is literally all mirrors, and the question comes up: well, what do you do with Matterport in terms of scanning a room that is totally all mirrors? And I suppose with any other 360 camera, you could Photoshop the camera out of the mirrors, but in the case of Matterport, while it's technically possible to do that, it actually breaks the terms of service of Matterport and is a no-no. So kind of an interesting discussion going on about, what do you do when you have, mirrors on all four sides as you walk into a room? So let's see what else we got going on. If you're just new to the forum, please do introduce yourself in the discussion. New to the forum, please introduce yourself here. That would be really cool. We're doing there's about 100 new members of the forum every month, and I know we just get a handful that actually introduce themselves. Many just seem to join and not necessarily post, but maybe want to get the newsletters, want to get some of the membership benefits of joining the free We Get Around Network forum. But we always love when you introduce yourself so that we know a little bit about who's joined us in the community. So that would be really cool. We do get more than 10,000 monthly visitors to the forum. Today, there's more than 3,400 members in 104 countries. As I mentioned, growing by 100 new members a month. The knowledge base has now grown past 41,000 posts among 5,500 topics. So I I guess I would say, well, probably the world's largest database of its kind on the topics that we all end up discussing. So just about 8 minutes away from our program today, and we'll formally introduce Kevin at the top of the hour. But if you're kind of just reading ahead, we do have a post about Kevin on today's program. So that's exciting. And let's see what else we got going on. Yeah, we'll be introducing Kevin shortly. He's Kevin Kunze Productions, CEO, founder. Also teaches 360 photography. We'll ask him a little bit about that as well. That's coming up just in about 7 minutes. So, Kevin, the good news is if the tech setup, if everything goes okay, then we don't actually have something to do just before the show begins with you. But this does give us a little bit of time just to chat about what's going on in the We Get Around Network Forum. So, thanks for your patience as we get started. If you haven't joined the We Get Around Network Forum, totally free, something like 14 free membership benefits, including a guide to Matterport service provider pricing, deep links to 100 plus Matterport service providers to their pricing page. So it makes it a little bit easy if you're just starting out trying to kind of get the lay of the land of who's charging what where. That's just one of around 14 membership benefits. Mike, good to see you. Okay, and we'll be chatting tomorrow. Okay, thank you. That's Mike Wilt, our tech for the We Get Around Network Forum, WGAN-TV live at 5. So our show begins just in about 6 minutes from now, and we'll be talking with Kevin about the 360, the Garmin VIRB, the Garmin Virb 360, and that's coming up just now in about 5 minutes. So just in terms of some other membership benefits, I mentioned the guide. You have access to many of the We Get Around Training Academy Library videos. Simply by being a member, I think the library is up to about 100 plus hours of training material, and access to some calculators that may be helpful. If you're thinking about becoming a 3D photographer, if you're thinking about what to charge as a photographer, if you're thinking about how much money you can make as a photographer, if you can think about how you can help, let's say, real estate agents succeed faster, and a calculator showing how you might be able to help double their income through differentiating their listing presentations using Matterport. So that's, anyway, some of the exciting things that we have coming up in the We Get Around forum and joining. And let's just see if there was just anything else to just point out. It's a good question going on by member Lee Verdun in London, I want to say, is asking, I could have his location wrong, but he's asking about one of his clients that's not happy with the still photography that's coming out of the Matterport cameras. So there's some discussion going on about the Matterport Pro 1 camera, the Matterport Pro 2 camera. There's an excellent marketing video from 3D Florida's Properties, 3D Florida Properties. It's kind of the video of the week, a new tradition we're starting is sharing great marketing videos of members of the community. Very interesting discussion about a disco designer using Matterport. And it's really a great use case of using Matterport to capture three-dimensional data that the designer can use to create discotheques all over the globe, and is using the We Get Around Network Forum to source Matterport Pros. So I think that's kind of just interesting to hear about a use case. You may be using the Matterport camera and didn't realize that you can generate an object file, and that object file in some spaces is extremely valuable. That file can be converted to a SketchUp file, a 3D 3ds Max file, and to a designer, it's golden because it means they can begin their design project with the data rather than having to reconstruct an existing space only then to begin the design. So anyway, that is in the forum is labeled global. Disco designer seeks Matterport pros, and there is a related discussion as well. It just gives you some sense of interesting ways that the Matterport camera platform is being used outside of residential real estate sales. Having chatted with the disco designer, it's got about 17 years designing discos. It's just so much easier and faster and at less cost to actually scan a space than to travel one of the design team members to someplace in the globe to take pictures, even to scan the space. It's just super easy to engage a Matterport Pro through the We Get Around network, and then be able to convert the file, in his case, to Autodesk 3ds Max, so that he can begin modeling the disco. And it's just way faster in terms of doing that. We're just about 1 minute away from our WGAN TV live at 5. So thanks for tuning in a little early. We'll do an introduction here shortly too. So anyway, I just think that that's a kind of a really interesting topic about a disco designer using Matterport around the globe to make the process easier, faster, and actually less expensive for his clients in terms of how he's able to design the discos faster and easier and at less expense. I think that's probably, let's see, just if there was something else. A very interesting conversation about anyone accepting Bitcoins. And it turns out that I believe we have at least one Matterport Pro in the community who's raised his hand and says, I've already done an order with Bitcoin. And it turns out if you accept payment with Stripe, as We Get Around in Atlanta does, that apparently we can accept Bitcoin if we choose to do that. So, Kevin, we're almost up to you. It's almost 5 o'clock Eastern time, so thanks for your patience. I'm just going to check for some of my notes here. Get that called up. And so if you're Kevin, if you're good to go, I'll do a little countdown here and we'll get started.
Sure, yeah.
It's good. All right. And it does sound like I have a little bit of delay. Are my lips matching up with yours? Are my lips matching up with my voice?
Your lips are matching up. Are my lips matching up?
It's a little bit slow. So we may have some pauses as we wait for me to hear you finish a sentence because it's trailing you a little bit.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. So in 5, 4, 3. Hi, I'm Dan Smigrod. I'm founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Monday, November 13th, 2017, and you're watching WGAN TV live at 5. Excuse me. Our guest today, hey, Kevin. There's Kevin.
Hi, how are you doing today?
There's Kevin. Good. Good to see you. Kevin Kunze. He is CEO and founder of Kunze Productions. He is a subject matter expert on all things 360 video. He actually teaches a class in San Francisco.
Class, actually.
Well, tell me about the classes you're teaching in 360.
So, Academy of Art University, where I teach, we have 4 virtual reality film classes right now. And 2 of them are intro classes. So you get the basics. You're shooting a Theta camera, and you learn, all about the whole medium and how it works. There's an advanced production class, and then there's a sports and VR class where we're using the GoPro Fusion camera. So there's a lot going on at the Academy of Arts in terms of VR production right now. It is got more classes for 360 film than NYU and USC combined.
Wow, that's amazing. And I imagine virtual reality is part of the curriculum as well.
And that is entirely what those classes are
Oh,
based in.
entirely.
Yeah.
Okay, because I think about the cameras that you mentioned capturing 360 photography. So you can present it as 360 video on YouTube or Vimeo, or actually look at it in virtual reality.
They are video classes, but if they want to do something with photography as well, we encourage that. It's a whole new medium, and everyone's beginner in learning, so it's just a fun time to be teaching it.
That's cool. So who's actually signing up for those classes?
We get a lot of undergraduate as well as graduate students, and it's a range of ages. From people who are very young to I had a student this summer who's in their 50s. And what's
Mhm.
crazy is we're getting people from all around. Like I had some students who are in Arizona and LA who are coming up to San Francisco to take my class. So it's really like an honor to be able to teach this and be able to have the experience and the knowledge to talk on it. So thank you for inviting me today to your forum.
You're welcome. I've been so looking forward to this. I know we first met when you were 360 live streaming for the ARVA, the let's see if I get this right, the Augmented Reality Virtual Reality Association San Francisco chapter. And you were streaming that 360 live, and we carried that in the We Get Around Network forum. Did I get those letters right?
You got that correct, I believe.
Isn't
I
that
think.
amazing? ARVRA, Augmented Reality Virtual Reality Association, San Francisco chapter. And Kevin was kind enough to share that 360 live stream with us, courtesy of the San Francisco chapter. So, gee, when we were first talking about doing a program today, there's just like so many things that we could possibly talk about, and my concern was trying to cover too much. So I thought, well, maybe if we just focus on one particular camera and have you demo it a little bit, take us through it. In fact, even before we get there, I think you have some video to share with you, just to kind of, you were talking about the kind of work that you do in the space professionally in addition to teaching.
Yeah, I've had the honor of working with a lot of great companies, including the San Francisco 49ers, the San Jose Sharks, as well as dog adoption centers, cat adoption centers as well. I've filmed work with Meta, augmented reality. So a lot of experience. And yeah, I'd love to show you my film reel of 360 work. So I'm now going to do a share. I'm a novice, by the way, at this Zoom software that we're using for live streaming. Bear with me, folks.
Yep. So you're going to hit the share screen, and then be sure to have the audio play if you want that playing.
Sure. So here, I'll play it from the very beginning. And I'm controlling this now with my mouse. Sharks. Running out. Skating out. And I'm over here holding it.
Yeah. You may want to turn off the sound on it. I think probably be a little easier for us. I think one of the challenges excuse me, looking at your 360 video is that we are doing a live stream, and it is silky smooth when we take a look at it online, but we are trying to pass a lot of data back and forth trying to do what we're doing. So if it looks a little bit jumpy, it's actually not. That's our problem in terms of the technology doing our live stream.
Puppies, this dog adoption center. Here's the Golden Gate Bridge. This is shot with a drone. So you see, look behind you or underneath you, it's just ocean. This is UC Berkeley campus with a drone. I'm all the way down there. And you can actually see people in this little area here. Here we are on the back of a motorcycle. This is in Wyoming. Or dirt bike, maybe not a motorcycle. This is a time lapse. I'm actually driving right now. This is actually pretty funny. A lot of people say, I love your 360 3D, and it's not really 3D, but it feels very tactile, and things come at you like that. In this case, this little puppy, this corgi, comes right up to you. Leaves a little snot mark right on the lens. He's a cat.
Oh my gosh.
You can imagine being in a headset. This work we've done with Kodak, where we experiment with this dog harness. That's what it's like to be in a dog's perspective. this guy at the shooting range. He's actually one of the best marksmen in the U.S.
Yeah, so keep in mind, this is 360 video, and Kevin is using the mouse in order to move it around to have us look at it. But obviously, if you put a virtual reality headset on and took a look at this, it's really quite an amazing experience.
Right now, I've put it into tiny planet mode. So you see there's normal mode. And then if I scroll back, you can be in tiny planet mode and you see what it's like. Oh, you can see there I didn't clean up the tripod. This is this music video for this great band called Snow Angel. There's Kaepernick. He just walks out there. Colin Kaepernick, now GQ Citizen of the Year. Sharky, if you know the Sharks mascot here. And I'm encouraging him. I'm saying, oh, go up to the camera. He knows exactly what to do. There's an electric skateboard ride. And you might wonder, where's the tripod here? It's actually attached to me. So it's hidden. That's pretty much the end of it. Here's my contact info for folks who are interested to get in touch with me about 360 film work. It's about to pop up right here. There's my email. So feel free to get in touch.
Yeah, hit that on pause for a second just to leave it up there for a moment. So, you know, I think, you know, one of the things I do is follow Kevin on YouTube. He is constantly going live in 360. And so if you're thinking about doing 360 live, I think, you know, watching what Kevin's doing, he's always popping up. I get a little notice that says, you know, Kevin is now live and he's doing his 360 video stuff. So, you know, whether that's a sporting event, an event, I think you were at some protest, you know, a while ago where you kind of just jumped in the midst of the action, and just amazing.
Yeah, it sort of depends what's going on. Yeah, sometimes I'll go to, if there's a protest happening in Berkeley, or a lot of times I'll go to different AR, VR talks and panels and hear them talk, and I'll live stream for that organization so that way they get some publicity. And for people who can be there if they're sick or, you know, they're just not in the area. So I think live streaming in 360 is going to be total future of journalism and news coverage.
Yeah, with that, that's kind of a nice segue into the Garmin Virb. Why don't you tell us about this camera and why you're excited about it?
Sure. So the Garmin Virb, which I got right here, is a 360 camera, which pretty much does all of the work of, you know, to give you an idea, back when you'd buy a camera and it would be like, you know, $2,000. And you'd get decent res for 360. Here you have 5.7K res in this nice small package that's about the size of like what, like 3 fingers?
A softball or a baseball?
Even smaller. I'd say it's almost closer to a golf ball.
Golf ball. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty tiny camera. And it can do 5.7K res. Now, to give you an example, I'll pull down a camera off the shelves here. This camera does 6K res. ZCam S1. Look at the size comparison. Gigantic 4-lens camera, tiny lens. And then the price, this is $750. This goes for around $2,000.
Yeah, I saw that ZCam in Tokyo at the 2017 Google Street View Summit. One of the 360 cameras announced. It's a bit crazy. I think we're up to actually to about 70 plus 360 one-click cameras of one sort or another. So, you know, I know on the ZCam, I want to say one of the advantages of, I think that exterior is that it's designed to dissipate. Is that the right word? For heat. Is heat an issue with the Garmin Virb?
You know, I've shot with it for a couple hours and it doesn't seem to heat up all that much. It's pretty smart design. I'm going to say, though, that there are other cameras like the GoPro Fusion has a rubber-based design on the sides and outside. And that one has been the best in terms of the heat dispersion, even better than the cam.
Yeah.
But this is pretty good. I have not had any issues. I've shot with it outdoor. The one issue that I did have is I shot a time lapse and one of the lenses got a little, it was like hitting straight on sunlight and it started to get like heat sweat, sort of. I don't know how else to call it. Yeah. But then that disappeared once I took it away from the sun. So it's things where if you're shooting, you kind of got, you know, think smart. I usually like to put my cameras in the shade if I'm going to do a long time lapse like that. But I am incredibly impressed by it, especially for how small and versatile it is. I've attached this on the back of motorcyclists and had them go over Golden Gate Bridge with it. I've put it onto drones, and it's very aerodynamic because of the shape on drones. And I've actually taken this underwater. It is completely waterproof. So
it doesn't need a case.
Doesn't need a case. It doesn't do amazing 360 underwater, and this is sort of an issue with cameras and possibly needing a case because of refraction from light.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, once again, if I'm shooting and it's a rainy day out, I don't have to worry about this camera. I've actually put it outside in the middle of a thunderstorm and filmed with it and had no problem.
Wow.
So in terms of durability, this is my favorite camera on the market right now. Also, you happen to drop it, like let's say this is great, and then wind comes and it falls and you smack one of your lenses, you can actually replace these for $50. And I've actually bought replacements and never had to replace them yet. But it's a good thing to know, just because with fisheye lenses, they tend to get scratched a lot more often. Another thing that I've purchased is like for $15 or whatever, this little case thing that you can put over it. It gives you a little bit greater sense of security. Especially if you're to, like, let's say you're filming a concert, you can easily just put this thing in your pocket. And now I don't have to worry about a case for it. One of the downsides is it doesn't really have a case. When you get it, it doesn't come with a case. So I've sort of implemented an old camera case that I have. If I can find it now. I put it somewhere. Unfortunately, I can't find it. Just an old Kodak camera case that I can fit it in.
Mm-hmm.
That's one solution. But it's always good to have a case with these 360 cameras because you don't want to scratch your lenses.
Yeah. I have so many questions for you about this camera. You know, there's a couple things that are really sexy with it beyond what you've just described. The first, talk about the mashing up of data.
Oh yeah, I didn't talk at all about this. So this camera has more metrics in it than any other 360 camera on the market right now, I believe. So it can tell me miles per hour. It can do GPS and create like a map circuit. So like, let's say, you know, with a motorcyclist, he went around Sausalito, I'd have like a map of that. And it would tell me in terms of if he's going up or down. I forget what metric that is.
Up or down works.
Yeah, up or down, for more like planes, like if you were to put this on.
Yeah, I want to say pitch, roll, and yaw. I couldn't tell you which is which. It will do altitude as well.
It's altitude. That's what it is. So it'll tell you miles per hour, altitude. If I were to set this up with a heart monitor, like let's say I put a heart monitor on me and I sync them, which you can, it can tell you my heartbeat as I'm like in a race or something, or jogging or biking. So you can imagine the implications of this with sports, even from like the training side. I'm amazed if, you know, sports teams haven't purchased this and started testing around with it. So a lot of great use cases. And also you have...
let me add to that, because I know when I saw a demonstration of the metrics with this kind of camera, the nadir or the bottom of the 360 tends to be useless space, and in the case of this camera is dynamic data, whether it's showing you a map of where you are, or the elevation, or your heart rate while you're bicycling. And so it becomes, wow, now you actually do have a reason maybe to look down, because you want to look at the data of what's happening at that moment in that video.
Exactly. Like, for instance, I do a lot of time lapses in my daily vlogs in 360, and I'll be driving. And so I'll put that data like in the dashboard area, exactly where it would be on a normal car. If it's something that you're trying to record, like skiing or whatever, you can put that sort of map there, or it just gives something for people to look around at. And if they do happen to look down there, they don't see anything. You can also put logos, other things. It tells you your direction if you're facing north, south, east, you know, all that. So
is that a sensor that's built into the camera that tells you directionally you're going north, south, north?
Mm-hmm. It can live stream in 360 as well. up to, I believe, 4K res, but it's not that great at live streaming. I'm going to be honest on that because I think it has to do with the app and how it's connecting to the network. I just have not had great success with it, but maybe I just need to test out some more.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I want to talk all about, like, you know, the data and the dynamic data and some other things that are really special, but many of the members of our community are actually doing real estate photography. So I thought it actually might be helpful to kind of give them the benefit to say, you know, why this camera at $800 versus maybe another camera that's 400 or 300 or 350 or even 130.
It's gone down on it from 800 to 750 because the GoPro is imminent later this month. And the reason why you want to pay that extra is because you can shoot in flat mode and you can change your ISO and really capture great light levels and be able to have a greater control over the image than you would with other 360 cameras that aren't quite at that level. In addition, if you are filming real estate and let's say you're doing outdoors, a lot of the Matterport cameras you can't do outdoor because of light and lasers and how that whole thing works. So this would be a great camera for shooting outdoors, and regardless of what day you happen to go on, if it's a rainy day or super sunny day, you can still use this camera. In comparison, try and put any other 360 camera out in the rain, you're going to have to put a dome thing around it. And especially with real estate, if you're, you know, on location for only a certain number of days, you're flown out there or whatever, you need to make it work. And these other waterproof cases for things just don't quite do as good of a job, I think, as this out in the rain.
Yeah. So when I think about my DSLR camera, Canon 5D Mark III full sensor, how do you translate on something like this in terms of the image quality? You know, if you change the ISO on this camera, and I would imagine you can change ISO, f-stop, shutter speed, and
you have quite a good control over it. I'm trying to find my cell phone at this point in time.
Yeah.
To show an example of that. Of course, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. So if we turn on the camera, I'll show you exactly how it works. You got 3 buttons on it. And you got your power button. Power button's always going to be located on this side where you can get extra power. Makes sense. Power is by the power.
Yeah.
You also have your micro SD card. If you want to plug it in for additional power, you can plug in there. You can go to an HDMI. So anywho, I'm just going to hold this down. 1, 2, 3, and you can see it powers on right away. If I had the switch flipped to the red side, it would automatically start recording, which is another nice feature. And you see here, it tells you how much data you have, what mode you're in. I can tell immediately I'm in time-lapse mode because I can shoot for 40 hours.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to switch over to video mode. I wish I could show you everything I'm doing here, but I need to see it too. So I'm going to now connect it to my phone. In order to do that, I just go to wireless.
Yep.
I just enter. It has the easiest wireless setup. You hit enter again.
Found your phone?
Yeah, I found my phone.
Is it connecting by Bluetooth?
It's connecting using Wi-Fi, actually.
With Wi-Fi. Maybe that's why.
So it automatically starts connecting. You can see there.
Hold still for a sec. So we want to write down your network. So when we're driving by your house, we're going to be trying some passwords there. Okay.
Yeah, this would only work if the camera's on. And so now you can see it pops up here. Verb. I click on Verb.
Yep, got it.
And it's connected. And to be honest, most other cameras that you try connecting with their Wi-Fi or Bluetooth 360 cameras, it is the biggest pain in the world. And for this to just work all the time consistently like that is very nice. And it needs to, because this is how you get access to all your features. So it's going to automatically connect, and you'll see. Oh my God, we're getting a delay loop.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. So see here. But, I think part of what you're actually demonstrating here I'm not sure that I would have tried a live demo of connecting a 360 camera to a smartphone, because it doesn't always connect, and it is a little. Sometimes you're restarting the app, you're restarting the device, you're restarting the camera, and hopefully you eventually get them all to connect.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure how well you can see this, but there's your exposure bias. So if I want to change the ISO, I just click on the ISO there. I have a couple different options.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 6400, 3200, 16, 800, and 400.
Yeah. Have you tried it on some of those higher settings in terms of?
It does very good low light. If you go on my YouTube channel, you can see a low light level comparison there between this and a lot of the 360 cameras on the lower end of the market. This one does the best at night, and that's a big factor for someone like me who wants to shoot 24/7.
Yeah, I know you've been out, as I mentioned earlier, about protests, and carrying. Well, those things are generally happening at night, and I could see everything that was happening on your live stream, even though it was nighttime. So that was kind of surprising. Anyway, let me bring it back to real estate. So, and you really primarily shoot video, but have you had a chance to shoot?
I brought this out on a real estate shoot where we had multiple 360 cameras and did it as a comparison to see what would work the best. My client works with Matterport a lot, but like you had mentioned earlier, Matterport doesn't do the best photos, so they're trying to find a photo solution for their business. And so they hired me out for the day to help them come up with that solution. And I think what we ended up determining is that the Garmin is the best camera for the job. And you can see here the different modes. You got your flat mode, vivid mode. If you want to go even further, you can go into sharpness. You have your white balance. Really trying to show it. It's hard. A lot of background.
And is this on an iPhone or a Samsung or something else?
This is on an iPhone. I'm not sure. I think this can also work on Android. It might be something to look into.
Yeah. Okay.
You also can set it up to, if you want to shoot just 5K, or you want to go all the way up to 5.7K.
Yeah. And in terms of HDR?
It does not have HDR from what I understand. Which is kind of, a weird thing, but you do have, the flat color mode. And in that way, you're able to control a lot of your color balance a lot easier.
Yeah, I would say that HDR thing is going to be very important for any photographer that's shooting inside and doesn't necessarily have the control of shooting at the golden hour inside with the lighting outside magical. So, but I would imagine that that's going to be a firmware upgrade at some point. Can't imagine that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I think that's definitely on the horizon. There's a lot of nice things that I think this camera is going to do in the future as well. Firmware updates are one of these things that it's something that they're going to do. So anyway, then when you're done, you can just disconnect it from the network, and it will actually remember the settings that you put in there, and it will stick with them every time, even if you turn it off, turn it back on.
So how do you generally transfer your content? How are you moving what's your workflow on? Okay, now you got some video. What's next?
So normally I will plug it directly into the computer, and that has a lot to do with the fact that this uses the sensors, but it also has to do if I'm going to stitch it. If I'm going to stitch it internally, it has free stitching software, which works pretty good. And you can, if you connect it in, it gets all that metric data, and you can then add those things. If I'm going to do it another way, where let's say I want to stitch it absolutely perfectly, I would then take the raw footage into my computer and stitch it through software like Color or Mystica. To show you what the sensors aspect looks like, you have sensors right there, and then just clicking on the side here. Oh, I did the wrong one.
That's the power. Yep.
You can add sensors as well.
What does that mean?
So like, let's say I had that heart meter on, or anything that really connects with Garmin, you can add to it.
And are you adding that by Wi-Fi?
It sometimes can connect through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, but it's really just kind of getting them to sync up, and then they each record independently, and then through their software, it brings them together.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm a real estate photographer, if I'm doing still pictures, we have one thing that's not quite there yet is having the HDR capability on the video. So far, that sounds like of all the under $1,000 cameras, the one that you've been happiest about.
And once again, I don't really play around too much in the photography realm, so maybe there
Yeah.
is an HDR mode for photography on the
Okay.
camera. But for video right now, there is no HDR mode.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mainly what I concentrate on, because let's say even in the state of real estate, we were shooting a wedding location and there's tons of people walking around in the backgrounds and whatnot. So we said, oh, instead of doing a photo where you have to, figure out the right time where there's no one, we're going to record a video for 60 seconds. Out of that 60 seconds, we'll find one frame that will work where we're going to have no people in it,
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of benefits to doing it that way as well.
That's cool. Hey, if you all are just tuning in, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Monday, November 13th, 2017. You're watching WGAN TV Live at 5. Our guest today, Kevin Kunze. Kevin is the CEO and founder of Kunze Productions. He's also teaches and is an instructor for the beginner advanced and sports and virtual reality film making courses at the Academy of Art University in San Francisco. And Kevin today is taking us through one of his favorite 360 cameras, the Garmin Virb 360 camera. So, Kevin, I'm not sure that it happens on this particular camera, but can you pull out traditional 2D video from your 3D video?
You can choose to just shoot in one of the directions if you want. And having, shot with a lot of different 360 cameras, like right here, these are all 360 cameras on my shelf.
Yeah. So let me see if I can guess. Let's see. I see the first generation Samsung 360.
That's the 2017 right there.
It is? Oh, then I can't see it. It's smaller than I think it is.
Samsung gave me one at an event recently, so they're just growing on trees over here. All right, yes. What do you think the next one there?
Yes, I think that is the Insta360 Nano.
That's correct. Yeah.
Is this like an eye exam except that it's for photographers or something?
And then one over. What do we got there?
Oh. I want to say that's a Ricoh Theta. I don't know which number it would be, but I don't think I've seen a white one. Pardon?
It was their first model ones, M15. You can have white, blue, yellow. They had a whole bunch of colors. It was great.
Yeah. I think I'm up to my
heat dispersion.
Pardon?
I chose the white for heat dispersion.
Better than black.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Black. Think of it. It absorbs the heat.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. That's fascinating. Well, I've been getting cameras that have been in black by choice, thinking that might have less opportunity for reflections and glare and stuff to come off the
That's a factor too, yeah. All right, these ones I bet you can't guess. Those are kind of tricky because they're all muddled there.
Do I get a close-up of it?
Yeah.
But I think I know it's to the left of you, though. That looks like a Nodal Ninja Pole number 1.
That is a Nodal Ninja, yeah. So these are the Kodak Pix Pros, which were my friends for a very long time.
Yes, but now they're retired.
They're not exactly. Yeah, I guess a little bit. I might use them for drone photography now.
Just in case you lose your camera, that's the one you don't mind losing.
Exactly. In the event of the kamikaze seagull,
yeah,
then we're all set. But to be honest, going back to the Garmin's, because I want to stay on track here, I bought 2 of these cameras specifically for drone photography. And the reason being that you can shoot up to 60 frames a second in 4K res on them, which is huge for if you're trying to, fix something in stabilization, etc. So I attach these onto my drone, and you can see here 3D printed attachment. I just put it on there. I put one on the bottom of the drone. I can even set it up if you want. I have it right here. Take me a
Sure.
minute. Yeah,
Yeah,
might as well.
let's see what you got. I love seeing toys.
Yeah. So this is
And
what I like. It's your Mavic DJI.
yes. And I love when companies send me cameras. So we'll actually be doing an unbox video on Wednesday of yet another camera that a manufacturer sent to us. I think the Ricoh, I think I'm up to my third one. So I had, I think, the first and second and maybe the third generation. So I've stopped at the S. At the moment, I'm particularly happy with the Insta360 in
Yeah,
terms of a under $300 camera.
that's the one that I used for the live streaming at night that you saw, and that one has a lot of control with the photography as well. I would give that the runner-up prize. I like Ricoh a lot, but I think that their latest Ricoh V, it only has 18 gigabytes of storage space, which is not ideal for people doing video.
Well, I think they're up to yet another generation. I don't the
I think
Insta
that's their latest generation one. Their
the B.
the Theta S had more storage because it was not 4K res.
Yeah.
So
Huh.
they're having some issues. That being said, it's an exciting camera. So basically, you can see here we got one of the 360 cameras on the top of the drone. We'll take it off so you can see.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to add another one below it. Just got to take it off of here. I'm doing this all one-handed.
And why are you shooting with cameras above and below?
I'm going to ask you that question as a teacher. Why do you think I'm doing that?
Because you can. I'm trying. I'm going to imagine that there is some way for you to magically make the drone go away in post.
That's
By
exactly.
do I get an A
You get an A in the class for today.
today?
You still need to
How do you make the drone go away by shooting with the cameras above and below?
So by shooting with the cameras above and below, you're actually getting enough coverage that you can erase this out, similar to how you'd erase out a tripod if you're getting enough of the coverage.
Yeah.
And I do this using different types of stitching software. You can do it either in Color or Mystica. Those are the two different types that are out there.
Yeah.
Color is $1,000, which is a little pricey. Mystica is monthly or annually, and it's about like 50 euros. I don't know the translation there. I think like 60 bucks, 70 bucks. So either way, you're going to have to pay a little bit if you're going to want to do that. Or you can actually use DJI. They have a new mapping technique where you can shoot a 360 panorama in the sky. The challenge is it leaves you a giant black circle on the top, because this little camera can look around in all different directions, right? And it can take 40 different photos, but it can't go like that and take a photo above it. So you might have to clean that up in post regardless. So, and this is better for video. Once again, that's more what I'm doing. So
yeah, that's crazy. Wow,
pretty fun. And then basically the way you take off is you'd have to hold it from here, do a manual take off. It can be a little dangerous, but it's one of these things that you're trying to do something new, you gotta be a little dangerous sometimes.
Yeah. If you put it on the ground, you're at risk of the camera lens.
Yeah, and I've built extensions for it too, where you can have like the legs and it can land on the ground, but then you have to clean those up in post, and it's kind of a pain. So I just do that manually.
Yeah. So how do you land it?
A little risk. You catch it. You have to catch it.
That's great. You have to catch it.
Yeah, it's a two-person job, but that being said, I've done it on my own before, and it's fine.
That's great. So going back to real estate, I was reading one of the specs on the camera that I was really excited about was stabilization. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it has 6-axis stabilization, and because it uses the GPS and all those other metrics like miles per hour, it can really balance it out and stabilize things out pretty well. To give you an idea, I went rock climbing recently and put it on a hat and then climbed up the surface with that. And it did a pretty good job of cleaning that up. I had to do a little bit more in post. But for your standard, like if I'm running down the street, it does a pretty good job. If
Yeah.
I'm on a motorcycle, it does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
It has there's different types of bump motions that you would have, that different types of stabilization software works better, but across the board, it works pretty dang good. And there's no one else out there that I know of that has something that can clean it up that well with their software. This is my cat, by the way, popping up behind me.
Yeah, you're being photobombed by your cat. So
exactly.
well, your the volunteer work that you do with the cat people, I think they'll like that. I'll wave to your cat.
Yeah. I actually don't do volunteer work with the cat centers. They pay me to film the adoption centers, but nonetheless, I'm a huge proponent of adoption centers. And people that do
terrific. Even better. Good to get paid. So one of the things I'm thinking about, and I believe I'll probably do this in the next 10 days, is take my Insta360 and put it on a pole and have a real estate agent walk through the property, just her telling first person about why she loves the house and why it's special, blah, blah. But I'm thinking with my Insta360 on top of just a selfie pole or whatever, that I'm going to have a problem with the camera going up and down. And so now I'm thinking about, oh, do I go buy a stabilizer that may cost me $300 for a pole? And so, if you have an Insta360, that's $300. I think the stabilization is about $300. You're at $600. That you might say, well, why go buy the stabilization when you can go maybe buy a better camera that comes with the stabilization from the beginning? Is that?
I think that's the basic philosophy. And I have, stabilizers, like different ones built for 360, and they're great, but you always have that little piece that juts out a little bit. And so it's sort of one of these things that's a trade-off. And with this, I don't have any trade-off. Mm-hmm. I don't worry about any piece being underneath. It just stabilizes and does a pretty dang good job. Like I've shot a video that I can't post yet because of embargoes, but it compares the stabilization in this versus GoPro stabilization of their new camera. And this one has better stabilization, I'll say that.
Yeah. So this is cool. So even if I was to buy a $300 stabilizer designed for a 360 camera, the challenge that you run into, I don't know what that thing is called that sticks out, but I imagine they need it in order to make the pole stabilize, is I'm still going to have to do maybe I shouldn't worry about it because I'm going to put a logo patch in there anyway.
And this is what I always say when a client comes to me and says, what camera should I buy, Kevin, for this 360 job? And I say, well, what is the job? Like, what are you really trying to accomplish? Because every camera has an Achilles heel. They all have pros and cons. And so you kind of have to weigh what you need for the job at the specific time.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I think what you've described is the Garmin Virb doesn't need to have stabilization; it's built in. And I think since this is really a sports, I don't know what else to call it, a sports 360 video camera, it's designed for rugged handling to go on a motorbike, on a skateboard, rock climbing, whatever. That the stabilization is pretty good. So if you I always think about innovation takes place at the intersection of something that was already designed for one purpose, but used for a different purpose. And so I'd be surprised if the Garmin people would say, oh yeah, for a real estate photographer, yeah, you can put it on a selfie pole and, just, walk and have the agent, tell his or her story about the property. But I think what I'm hearing is because of that stabilization, that application should work way better maybe than using a stabilizer on an Insta360.
I would say so, yeah. It's one of these things to weigh. How much do you care about what's underneath the camera?
Yeah.
And in some cases, it's like if you're going to patch it in or like put a logo there, then you don't have to worry. But in general, I really like this camera because of its long-term durability. And this is why I would recommend it to anyone, even as a first-time 360 user or someone who has a lot of experience who owns like big gear. This adds extra qualification that it's small enough and tiny enough to get in there and do a good job. And the resolution you get out of it is amazing. And in terms of the HDR, like if you really wanted to figure out a quick way around that, if the firmware hasn't come yet for photo, which I'm not sure, you could always take a photo at 2 different light levels and then kind of match them together in Photoshop.
Yes, yeah. You know, when I think about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, you know, I bought the Matterport camera in July of 2014, and before that, I used to stitch 360 photos with PT GUI Pro, Pano 2 VR, whatever. But you know, I gave up that stitching cold because I love the fact that I didn't need to stitch. So I'm looking for to say in terms of workflow, you know, what are cameras that I can use that HDR is built in, and I don't need yet another step of stitching pictures together.
What it really comes down to, though, is the resolution, because you're getting much more pixels, and so it opens it up a little bit more, where you can get better light. Light determined by the resolution and the frame rate. So even if you turn it down to 4K and 60 frames, you're letting in more light, so that might work better in a darker environment. I would highly recommend it to photographers in addition to video people, just because you have all of that control through the iPhone app. So yeah, I give it 2 thumbs up, and it is my favorite 360 camera at the moment because it's so rugged. I can fit it in my pocket. I can take it anywhere. If I were to leave this at the bar, it'd be something that I don't even think people would notice it because it's that small, you know? I, of course, put my name on all my gear just in case. I recommend that to anyone because, like, when you spend money on these things, you don't want it to go. The one thing I would not recommend with it is it doesn't come with a case. So, no, you're going to have to get a case for it. And the tripod it comes with is very tiny. So, but that being said, it's cute. It folds up, and you can actually even, like, place this on something and it will balance.
Yeah. Is that a consumer grade mount or professional grade mount?
So it comes with 2 different mounts for it. One is for just a standard thread tripod. And then in order to take it off, this was the trickiest part about learning this camera, by the way, right here. You're going to learn the trick. You hold this button down on the side and it loosens the mount on that side. See that? It opens it, and then you can just slide this off and it opens up. And so then you could put another one on here that would go to like a GoPro.
Oh, look at that. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, and so this is underneath the camera to show you your battery, what type of battery you have is in here. This is how it stays waterproof too, is you have these pieces here. I actually didn't buy more than 1 battery. I feel like the battery life is really good on it. I do have an extended charger. If I want to shoot for 3+ hours with it, I could do that. I've taken this thing to the beach. I found like sand on the inside. It still works fine.
Yeah, I'm confused about what an extended charger is. I understand plugging it into the wall. I understand a battery. What's an extended charger?
So they designed something where basically if you wanted to put an extra battery on it, you kind of have an issue because when you open it up to get your extra battery power coming out the side, you could remove this door, but then you're going to have trouble if you go underwater with it. So the trick is, instead of powering it like that, you buy an extra thing for like, $30, which I bought and of course haven't used. And here's what the other plate looks like there, just so you have a visual. You got that one, GoPro, and this all comes with it.
Okay, great. Oh, it comes with it. It comes with the 2 different mounts.
Exactly.
Okay, so standard GoPro mount that you have the option of switching out.
This is if you pay the extra, like $50, whatever, I don't know, $30.
Okay.
And basically, you can see here the magnetics there, and you see the magnetics there. You'd still connect it like this. Your wire can go directly underneath.
Yeah.
And you can power it on for longer because this goes into power.
Okay. I got it. Okay, so that's what we're talking about.
We're doing it through the magnets. See those little magnets
there? Yeah.
It's pretty smart, I gotta say. It's not something I've seen with a lot of different designs like this, but they were thinking of, you know, it for people like me who wanted to live stream and shoot for much longer. And they're also thinking for people like me who don't want to have to buy multiple cameras. Or I hate buying camera protection, like on the GoPro. I'm buying the camera protection for a year because if I mess it up, it's done.
Yes.
As I mentioned before, you just buy extra lenses and you just can.
Yeah, you know, I think the amazing thing is the fact that you said they were $50.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
Affordable. And I think you get 2 of them there. I think that's 2. I haven't had to use them yet because I'm pretty safe with it. And if you're smart, and don't buy this. You know, buy it when you break it.
Yeah, well, buy it. You know, I think early on in my first 360 camera was the Ricoh Theta.
Yeah, and it would be like with those, every single one, I would ship one in. I had 3 at one point in time because I would be constantly rotating them out on a basis of me breaking them.
Yeah, but I think the first one I had it on my pole, and I had a low ceiling, and you know, bam, okay, there goes the lens on that one. And then I think I had one where somebody knocked it over and scratched the lens. So if anyone knows what to do with a one-eyed 360 camera,
you can ship it to their repair facility. At least at the time, they were very good with me with it. They would always repair mine pro bono.
Yeah,
they're based in Enfield, Connecticut, so not too far from you.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ship my camera to you so that you can ship it to them, and we'll get the no charge shipping.
I don't have that great of a relationship with them now. It used to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm too blunt and honest with cameras to keep up some of these.
Yeah. So on this particular one with the battery, do you have any sense of how long that lasts under the most strenuous scenario you would do?
It all depends on what the scenario is. Like if you're filming straight versus like turning it on and off. If you're like outdoors versus indoors where it's colder.
Yeah.
You're shooting in time-lapse mode, if you're shooting in slow-mo mode, if you're shooting in 5K, 5.7K, there's so many factors that people don't even think of. And I think that all those need to be weighed in. And if you have a specific test you want me to do, feel free to check me out on YouTube. There's my little plug for that. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can actually click the button. And you can write me a comment. And if you want to see me do a test like this, write a comment on every video I do, and I will totally do it just to be like, stop with these comments, man. But I'm one of those people who really responds on YouTube and listens. And feel free to follow me on there and check out some of the videos to see comparisons of this and how it comes out.
Yes.
Especially the one with waterproof and initial review testing I did in the summer when I first got this. I want to say July. I really go in depth on it and talk about why I love it so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Kevin. We've been visiting with Kevin Kunze. He is the CEO and founder of Kunze Productions. Kevin is also an instructor at the Academy of Art University in San Francisco, where he teaches beginning, advanced, and sports in virtual reality filmmaking courses. And he's probably like the most prolific 360 video photographer that I know. I do subscribe to his YouTube channel. I encourage you to subscribe. It's a great opportunity to learn about live streaming meets 360 and to see all the different things that Kevin is doing. Kevin, before we say bye, anything else that you're just dying to tell us?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity of having me on your show, and yeah, make sure to check me out on Twitter and YouTube, and I'm pretty much all the different platforms. So
yeah. So what we're going to do is down here, we're going to put all your links so that we can find you on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, kunzeproductions.com, etc. So if you just look down here in the We Get Around Network Forum, right here, we will go ahead and within a day, take the recording of today's video, put it in the forum, and we'll put all those links there. If you happen to catch us on YouTube, we'll put the links on on YouTube within a day as well, so you can make sure that you can follow Kevin Kunze Kevin Kunze Productions, and be able to follow him on YouTube, and maybe actually show up and take one of his classes in person. So how cool is that? Yeah.
Workshops and different things. So feel free to, you can find out more info there. Yeah. So thank you again for having me, and have an amazing day.
Sounds great. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin Kunze. Where are you today? Santa Barbara, California?
I'm in Berkeley, California, so just right over the bridge from San Francisco.
In Berkeley, and I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum in Atlanta. You've been watching WGAN TV live at 5 on Monday, November 13th, 2017. And Kevin, I went ahead and stopped the recording, and I just say thank you again. And I'm just going to tell the folks what's coming up on tomorrow's show. Feel free to end your screen sharing, and thank you again. Look forward to talking to you some more.
All right. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin. So coming up on tomorrow's program, we have Liz McDermott in the forum. It's at Lizzie G, Lizzg. And Liz is going to talk about scanning a Santa Barbara grocery store. And actually, she has scanned, I want to say, 3 grocery stores. And there's a lot of learning going on when you're scanning grocery stores. So we're gonna ask her about scanning a grocery store. We're gonna ask her what she learned, what some of the things were that were a challenge in scanning a grocery store, what tips she would have. So that's a whole nother opportunity outside of residential real estate. And we'll be asking Liz McDermott about that tomorrow, Tuesday, November 14th, 2017 on WGAN TV live at 5. Thanks for watching. I'm Dan Smigrod, and thank you for being a member of the We Get Around Network Forum. And if you're not yet a member, please do join. It's free to join the We Get Around Network Forum. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, it's www.wegetaroundnetworkforum.com. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.